is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and The Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Hi there, this is Judith, and with me, as always, I have a terrific guest. Jackie Lapin hasn't been with us before, but you're going to want to hear again, I promise you. So just to let you know just a little bit about her, she's known as a transformational leader. She works with authors, practitioners, speakers, and messengers who connect with their next followers around the globe. So with her conscious companies and conscious media relations, I actually met her first when all she did was PR. And lo and behold, she is working with speakers and authors to really take their message to what I call the next level. She's got a very comprehensive and a la carte publicity services, but she also creates special resources for anyone who wants to do their own publicities. Her website, Conscious Media Relations, offers unique tools for we authors, do-it-yourself webinars, and so much more. And we're not going to let her leave today without talking a little bit about Speakertunity, which is a very cool twice-monthly transformational speaker leads tip sheet, and really does provide speakers with direct context to book themselves on stages across North America, which I think is very cool. Hi, Jackie. How are you today?
Hi, Judith. I'm just thrilled to be here today. So thank you for inviting me.
You are so welcome. So let's just, I'm really excited because, you knew I did this month. I did my first Speaking Unplugged, and I have to tell you, the boot camp, that it was not only transformational, but it took people in levels beyond they ever even imagined. And I think it's because of, my 35 years on the platform myself, but really understanding what has to go into an opening and a closing, and really get in. And throughout the presentation, every attendee was in the hot seat, where they told everyone what their book is about, and then I went to it on how to develop the speech, including their openings and things. And it was cool. Very cool.
Well, the world needs people like you, Judith, because people who have a message need to be able to communicate that message verbally as well as in a book, because we're here to change the world, and that's really so important that they can present it in such a way. So I'm really thrilled that you're taking that big step and jumping into the speaking area.
Yeah, I would just say it was a grand slam home run. So for any of you who are really interested in doing the things that Jackie and I are going to be talking about today, my next Judith Briles Speaking Unplugged event will be March 17th and 18th, and that is St. Patty's Day weekend. And then there'll be another one in November. And all that information is up right now on bookshepherd.com. So, Jackie, let's just kind of jump into these things. And I'm just going to throw this question at you right away. What's the most important thing that any speaker, any author needs to know before they even contemplate going in this direction?
Well, you obviously have to have a signature speech, but you have to know how to present yourself as well. And that includes, a powerful presentation in written, which we'll talk a little bit about, a speaker one sheet. And you really need to be able to market yourself as a speaker so that the speaker bookers know that you are a powerful addition to their stages. So it's a two-step process, having a great signature speech, and secondly, marketing yourself to them. So you can't do one without the other.
Mm-hmm. Well, what we want to do is, yeah, I mean, that's really the critical thing, that we have to know what our speech is. So we got to develop the speech, and we have to know who the market is. But what do you think, Jackie? I've actually done this. When a person is writing a book, I am not fearful of pitching myself for an upcoming book that I haven't even done the speech on. What do you think about that?
Well, I think you're brave, and I think that's fantastic. Most people are just intimidated to get on stages, and the first thing they have to do is get past that. And yeah, if you feel that you got something hot that people are going to want, then start seeding the ground, essentially. Start getting the word out, getting people to follow you, so that when your book comes out, then those people are going to immediately want your book. So, speaking is a multi-part process. And yes, if you want to start early as a marketing strategy for your book, that's a very good strategy.
Well, I think it's actually it's one of my essential tips you start with. You don't wait until after the book is out, especially, here's a savvy tip for all of you. If you think that you should be speaking in a corporate market, or especially an association market or a healthcare market, those groups book a good year out. They book a good year out. So understand that. And your book may just be noodling, but you've got to be able to have it down exactly what it's for, what's the target market, what's the benefit and takeaways, so you can hook them. I mean, do you want to add to that, Jackie?
I think that's a very, very valid point. With most other kinds of speaking engagements, you're looking 3 to 4 months out, but you're absolutely right, especially when you're dealing with the association marketplace. They are looking a year out. It's kind of a sliding scale. Local events and meetings are looking 3 to 4 months out. Conferences and conventions are looking about 6 months out. And you're right, those associations are looking a year. And it depends on what kind of the corporate. If it's local, they may be able to book more quickly than that. But the big stuff, yeah, you're no question about it, it's a year out. Very, very good point.
Mm-hmm. All right. So those kind of things. So the most important thing that any speaker should know is they need to know their speech. Let me add on something else too. That it's important to know this target market you're going for. It's important to know the conferences, and I think that you should be prepared to have a couple of different titles for your presentation that might be the tweak or the hook that will lure them in.
Well, and not only that, sometimes it makes sense to have more than just one signature presentation. You might have a workshop presentation that's different than the actual signature presentation, and you might have, if you talk to 2 different audiences, it might be that you have one presentation for one audience and one presentation for another audience, like if you have a corporate and personal growth.
Right.
So, a lot of the content may cross over, but you really need to be able to look at whether you need that flexibility and have more than one presentation. In some cases, if it's just about your book and you are just content to just talk about one topic, well, that, or it's an inspirational topic, that's fine. But if you're looking to build a business around it, you're probably going to need more than one different topic.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, I think we can't stress enough that all of you need to use the right adjectives that do call to action or put emotion into it. I mean, that's what a lot of it's about. Certainly that would tie in with some of the PR things you do, wouldn't it, Jackie? Or am I off base here?
Absolutely. And the titles of your presentation have to sing. They have to be compelling and exciting and intriguing. It can't be just stating what the topic is. So, if you're going to create a presentation, you need to give it a topic that's going to sell it. It needs to have a little sexiness about it.
Aha, snappy, sassy, and salty. Okay, here you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
One of the titles of one of my books. All right, so you also, I actually did a whole show one time on creating one sheet, and it was fascinating to me Several people wrote one of the ahas that they brought away from the Speaking Unplugged event a few weeks ago was all about how they just never thought of a one sheet the way I had presented it. So I would love to have your 2 bits on what goes into a one sheet, including what kind of graphics, colors, images, content. Let's jump on that one.
Okay. So it has to have a profile of you, but more importantly than just the profile is the fact that you talk about what you do and how it's going to impact the audience, how it's going to change, how it's going to heal, how it's going to move, how it's going to motivate the audience. It's not about you, it's about the audience. And that's your headline, really. What is it going to do for the audience? So it's your background and how that supports that. If you have 2 or 3 different presentations, a descriptive line or 2 plus bullet points of what some of the highlights of that, and then a great image of you that's kind of head up or or chest up. Although if you have a 2-pager, you can go to a full-length piece, but you don't want to use that much space if it's just one sheet. And then I think one of the most critical aspects of this is testimonials, and not just testimonials from your clients and your audience, but the testimonials from other bookers who booked you, and that's really critical because they don't want to think that they're the first one taking a chance on you. If they see that other bookers really wanted you and hired you and liked you, then that's going to be an influence. So I think that those are the critical factors for me. Colors, obviously, they depend on what kind of a mood and kind of that you're trying to create, what your image is, what your background is, but it can be for different people, but it needs to jump and it needs to sing and it needs to really make you sound exciting. You can use some logos in it too, or copy a book cover from your book.
Got it. The old snap, crackle, and pop on that. All right. We're gonna take a quick break. With me is Jackie Lapin. We're talking about your Speakertunity. Is it on full blast or is it on a low key? We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
With me is Jackie Lapin, and we're talking about the necessary ingredients to really shine. And I'm shining on the platform, in speaking, but also with media. And I want you to kind of think of this program as this is like a two-parter, because in a couple of weeks, Jackie will be back with us, and we're going to talk about some of the elements, the essentials, easy peasy stuff that you can do to really get the attention of radio and TV. But that's not what this is about today. We're talking about how to get the attention of bookers and meeting planners and those who can put you on a platform and a stage to sell a gazillion books. And this, I've said this many times before over the last few years, this is the way I moved over 1 million copies of my books, is speaking, not in bookstores, by speaking. So it was my mouth that did it. And we were talking about, before we went to break, about the power, and I think maybe, Jackie, that's the right word to do, is power of the one sheet, and some of the essentials and the elements. So if you want to recap just quickly what you did, and then let's talk about branding with them and colors and things like that.
Sure. The most important is a benefit-driven focus to the one sheet. What's the benefit to the audience? That should be part of your headlines. That should be the direction that your copy is written in. Then there's the profile in you and your credentials, a great photo of you, pet testimonials from people who have booked you predominantly, but if you have others, if you don't have those yet, then you can use just client testimonials, etc., but you should have some testimonials. Some brief descriptions of the presentations and some little highlights for each one of them. Those are the key elements, but you can also use your logos, your brand logos. You can use visuals of your book, and if you've been on various different media, you can put it on. You can put the media on there. So to spice up and create, to break up the blocks of gray, essentially, and then using great color. And Judith, did you have some specific suggestions that you were going to make on color?
Well, on my color, my predominant corporate colors are purples. Yeah, we have purples, and we have that light green, that limey green that comes in. So that it's blatantly on my one sheet, and it really does pop. I mean, you would never think that I worked for IBM in big blue. That's just but I think that you want to incorporate, any images that you've had that you've become known as, you start bringing those into play, and that's what's really important.
Yeah, my colors were hunter green and gold for years and years, and I used that everywhere, metallic gold, and it really sung for me for a long time. And as we've changed, I still use those corporate colors in anything that I do with conscious media relations.
Right.
But, yeah, and with Speakertunity, everything is blues and cool colors and lavenders and greens and grays. And so if I were to do a new speaker one sheet specifically to that these days, those are the colors I would use.
Right. And so it's just part of your image and your brand, and you walk it. You may even wear it for all I know. But the thing is that it's really important to know that, so they will recognize it. And let me give you another idea. If you're doing any snail mail, one of the things that I did is I actually found, because remember the old days when we used to mail big media kits out, Jackie?
Oh, yeah. Do I ever?
Oh, man. Mine actually costs almost $25 to put together. With the tabs, I mean, the purple folder it went into was stamped, embossed with my name, Dr. Judith Briles, huge white. Inside of it were actually 4 tabs, the programs, the proof, the blah, there was 4 of them. And we filled those, and there was all kinds of flyers and brochures and things like that. But they actually went out in a purple big envelope that we had made, so that even when I was doing follow-up and calling, and this is an important tip, you don't back away from snail mail in your marketing side. Jackie and I will be coming to this, but that you want to be able to stand out a little bit. And I have to tell you, meeting planners and bookers are inundated with pitches from people. From all kinds of ways. All I had to say is, if you've got a whole bunch of things on your desk, if you just look for the big purple envelope, that's me and all my stuff is in it, and zap, I just popped out.
Well, and today, so much of everything is email. And if you're an author, one of the better ways to actually pitch somebody is to send them a book with your speaker one sheet and a cover letter.
That's right.
Because that's going to end up on their desk, and they're going to have to pay attention to it.
Well, and then I'm going to say, why not? I mean, there's so many things that you can get in colors today. What's your color? And you can order an envelope and with bubble wrap or whatever you want to do, and slip that book in with a personal note or whatever material you're having. And you will still pop out because it will get their eyeball attention, which is what this is all about on the first round.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, yeah, Jackie and I are big proponents of one sheets. Do it, and be prepared to morph them and change as time goes along, too. So, all right. What about, Jackie, you talk about video. And how important is it to have a video? And we're going to put it on our website, I assume.
Absolutely, but it's even more important to include it in the pitch letter when you send it to the booker.
All right, tell me about.
Give them the link directly to your video, and that makes a big difference when they're trying to ascertain if you can be a compelling guest speaker to their audience. They want to see what you've done. And so there are 2 different kinds of video that you can have. One is a simple 3 to 5 minutes of you presenting. So they get a sense of how you engage and how you present and how exciting you are, et cetera, how interactive you are. The other is a sizzle reel, and that's where quick cuts and there's probably more in there than just you speaking on a stage. That may be you interacting with people and working with them, and it might be some things out of your personal life, and it might be some awards you won, and it celebrates who you are and why you're so exciting and so wonderful, and there might be some music to it, and something that's really well produced. Not everybody has the resources to do a big sizzle reel, but the very least that you need to have is a 3 to 5 minutes of you presenting, so that they have confidence that when they're making their choices, that you're going to be a good choice for them. So, yes, you want it on your website, but you also want it in the email that you send. And a couple of further thoughts on it. It can't be taken from your cell phone with bad lighting and bad sound. It's got to be nicely produced, and that can mean if you're going to an event that already has a video operation, just then buying the video from them or asking the host if you can have it. But if not, then hiring somebody to come in and do a nice job to make sure the lighting's right, you're mic'd properly, and so it really is it looks professional.
Yeah, and lighting is really important to have here. And if you're talking with Jackie saying it's 3 to 5 minute, more on your own, let's say, which could be really effective. But you want to have it at a live presentation. Don't do a phony thing here. You want to be alive because your energy is going to be different versus just getting, turn the camera on and I'm going to go. I've been there so many times. And
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, I was going to say, and there's also some showcases where a bunch of speakers get together, and you can pay for that day, and they will tape you at that showcase. Everybody cheering you in the audience as other speakers, but it gives you an opportunity just to pay to get it done.
Well, sure. And so, I'm going to probably do that for some of my clients here in Colorado, and is put it together. You rent the place, you've got it. And part of the deal is, you have to get your price. You got to get a commitment from whoever is doing it to turn over, the clip. You may be able to negotiate. That would be my job. Some editing of some sort. And that you get an opening title for yourself, and that you have an exit title with your website, and it stays stationed. So you really can, go up and put it up right away on your website, as well as on YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel, you'd add it there. If you don't, you're going to get one, please, and do an ad in that area. But there are certainly ways to do this. But I think, especially for if you're not really well established and you don't have a major name with a whole bunch of testimonials behind you, this is a put your toe in the door, so to speak. You need it.
Absolutely.
You need to do that. So, that's one side of that. And I just really encourage you to go down that path. And then the other side, let me add this too. We're talking 3 to 5 minutes. If you've got one that is a full presentation that's fairly decent, I would add that too and just label it, because I have to say this. Anybody, the worst of the worst speakers, can put together a reel that makes them look like they are frickin' rock stars and they are god-awful speakers, because everyone has 1 or 2 minutes where you shine in a couple of hours. Everyone does. Everyone does. So I'm just going to add that on. All right, we're going to take another quick break here. And I think, Jackie, when we come back, let's talk about some of the criteria that people, meeting planners and bookers, look for, because I don't think many people really think about what is the criteria that they want. Can we do that?
Sure.
All right, so Jackie Lapin is with us. We're talking speakers and Speakertunity. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When
Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, we're back again. Jackie Lapin is here, and we're talking about speaking because, as I've said many times, this is the way you push books. And Jackie has a couple of websites, consciousmediarelations.com and Speakertunity.com. And we're going to talk about Speakertunity in a few minutes. But I wanted to, as we segued out, I wanted to really get into some of the criteria that meeting planners and bookers, we call them both. It's probably, is it Jackie more inclined from the media side? That's where the bookers come from, the phrase?
Well, I think that, you're going to find bookers in all different aspects of life. I mean, you're going to, we can talk about spiritual centers, and they're going to be ministers. And you're going to talk about corporates, and they're going to be human resources and marketing directors. And you're going to be talking about conference convention people. Those are going to be big meeting planners. So I think you're getting different kinds of bookers and local meetings. If you're trying to do your local eWomen or your local, one of my favorite organizations in the South is one called Women on a Mission to Earn a Commission. So whatever, those are going to be local people, and they're going to be business people that are just taking that chair of that particular organization for that period of time. So they come from in all walks of life, but I think that there are certain commonalities that you need to know when you're actually booking people. Mm-hmm. And that's really how to make yourself relevant to them. And there are some real key questions that you can ask to really ascertain that.
Okay. And what are those questions? What kind of questions would we be hit with?
Well, the first question is, what is the problem that their audience is being kept up at night by? What is the problem that you actually solve for them? And that's really the most number one issue that a booker is going to look for. Can what you say give them a tool, a resource, a new perception on how to fix whatever is ailing their lives? So that's number one. The second thing they want to look at is, are you the right demographic match for that group? If they've got millennials and you're a middle-aged woman that really talks about issues on health and wellness, it's not generally a match. So they're going to want to know that you are a match for what audience and gender, age, ethnicity, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Another question that they're going to look at is, is your story their story, the audience's story? If you're, have you been subject to sexual, harassment or abuse? PTSD, if you've been a sufferer of PTSD, if you've had a business and it failed, whatever your experience is, if you have that experience and so does the audience, then you're a good match for that audience. So telling your story is a very, very valid way to make them feel that there's an alignment for that situation. Mm-hmm. Another thing they're going to look for is the skill level of what you're teaching. If you are teaching a very basic program and their audience is more advanced, that's not a good match. And vice versa, if you've got a very advanced program and their audience is just too novice, then there's a disconnect. So that's something that they're going to evaluate. Another thing they're going to look at is, do you fill a gap in what they are offering their community? So you can actually look at perhaps other speakers, and you see that there are certain kinds of trends that he or she is going for, but yours is filling in a gap that they don't have. So you can pitch yourself on that. The other factor is if there's a theme going on. A lot of times there are conferences and conventions have a theme for that year. And does your subject matter match the theme, or can you adapt it to match the theme? That's going to be a factor in relevance. Another factor is it hot? I mean, obviously, if you've got a hot topic that everybody's talking about, then that's when they're going to want you. If you have something that, with all these scandals going on in Hollywood, and that are expanding worldwide, politics, et cetera, about objectification of women, then that's a fabulous topic that people are going to be looking for. If you're talking about, teaching personal growth experts, well, Facebook Live is a big topic. Everybody wants to know how to do it. So whatever the hot topic is that for what's going on right then, that's another thing that they're going to be looking at. So those are some critical factors that if you can really position yourself so that you can be a match or take advantage of those types of directions, that's going to make a difference in your getting booked. And Judith, do you have any others that you might want to suggest?
Well, when you were talking about hot topics or the right demographics, that is so right on to ask these things. And I know, and also failure. Failure is, people want to know how people recover from failure. And I know that when I came along with my book, Woman to Woman, From Sabotage, I was dealing with a taboo topic. But most women were thinking about it, they experienced about it, but no one was talking about it. And I kind of put it into print. In fact, Jackie, this was a situation where Gloria Steinem tried to talk me out of publishing the book originally. And that I came along and it went booking like crazy everywhere because I was dealing with their pain. I knew what their problem was and I could give them solutions to it. So, and those are kind of the things that I've often said to authors that it's not money that makes the world go around. It's problems. So if you can identify a problem within the group, whatever is going on with the industry, the group, the generational age, with their culture, whatever it is, if you've got your expertise, your topic ties into that, you're going to go to kind of, in my opinion, the head of the pack in consideration. Now it goes back to what Jackie said in the very beginning. You better have a decent talk.
Absolutely.
Little minor thing. We need a talk that goes with it. So, I wouldn't be talking about technology, even though I use it all the time. You need that, millennial upstart in there who can communicate. So, but those are great. That's great information. So, those are savvy tips. I hope everyone listens closely. And would those tie into the thing that is there any variation on that, Jackie, that would make a speaker, an author, stand out from the crowd and above the crowd on any booker's desk?
I think there's a number of ways to make yourself stand out. And one of those is by taking a different approach to a common. If you have something that falls into everybody's already written a book on this subject matter, you better have a different way to approach it. When I wrote 2 books in personal growth, and they were coming out just at the same time The Secret was coming out. And so there were tons of books on manifesting. But my approach was so different that people paid attention instantly. It was called Practical Conscious Creation, Daily Techniques to Raise Your Personal Frequency. So it made a big difference that it wasn't so much about, here's how to manifest. I'm telling people exactly what they can do on a day-to-day basis just around their lives that can change the way they. And it was such a different approach that people were really interested and wanted to book me. So take a different task than anybody else has done. Another thing is your appearance can be a trigger for making yourself stand out. When I speak, I always speak in what you would call goddess wear, because I'm talking about transformation and helping people who are transformative, and I'm talking about miracles. And so, long dresses, beaded jackets, and people remember me from conference to conference because of the way I look. And there's another good example is, if you know Patch Adams, they wrote the movie with Robin Williams. He's a medical iconoclast. He works with children and flies in the face of traditional medicine. And so he wears these wild, cartoony Hawaiian kinds of shirts everywhere. I actually saw him on an airplane once, and he looked just as bizarre as he does, as you see pictures of him. And so that's his signature look. So you can have a shtick, a look that will make you stand out. And another thing is just having a really powerful personal interest story. Having something really, really dramatic, like Neil Donald Walsh living in his car, sleeping in his car when he started having his conversations with God, or a gal you may know, she was a friend of mine, Rhonda Britton, who had a television show for a long time, and Rhonda watched her father murder her mother, and then lived in cars and on people's couches and for years and years and years, and then ultimately learned how to thrive, and then she began to tell her story and help other people do it. So that rags to riches story is very powerful in human interest. Always
hot. All right, we're going to take our final break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about really some killer ways for you to get on that not only get on the platform, but also to shine on it. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, final segment. Jackie Lapin is with us, and we are talking all kinds of things. I want you to remember this website, Speakertunity. But before we jump into what Speakertunity is all about, there's one other question I wanted to get on the table. That, Jackie, a lot of times authors who are speaking, and just speakers, are really clueless of why they don't get the gig, why they weren't selected. Do you have some thoughts on that?
I do. One of the key things is having a 10-year-old website. The first thing that a booker is going to do is go looking at your website. And if you don't have a contemporary website that's large photos and limited words in that horizontal format, they're going to write you off right away because you're not current. That's one thing. Another thing also is, if you call them and harangue them and make them crazy, then they're also going to shut you out. What you need to do is contact them no more than 3 times, either 2 emails and 1 phone call, or 1 email and 2 phone calls. That's the appropriate amount of time. But if you are impatient and you nag them to death, you're going to turn them off, and they'll never open that email that you send them. So make sure to, be gracious. Also, when you present yourself on the telephone, be upbeat and powerful and strong. Most of the time you're going to be talking to a voicemail. Make yourself sound exciting, because if you sound dull and uninteresting, why would they put you on the stage? So that's another one.
Go ahead. When I used to call people, I actually had a mirror on my desk that I could see myself, and it made me smile at it. And that comes through.
Cool. Good idea. Those are some good things that you need to be aware of that can actually work against you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, you can't be an Eeyore when you're marketing, everybody. It's Tigger time. All right. So, Jackie, you have put together a really awesome program. For entrepreneurs, for experts, and the authors should think of themselves as experts, on how to go about booking themselves, for whether it's for the platform, whether it could be for a radio or TV show, summits, whether they are in person or online. So I would love some thoughts about it. And then we have actually a special offer that will, people will hear for a long time. So let's talk about that we can get them to really kind of explode what they're doing.
Well, Speakertunity is designed to save authors and leaders the time to actually go research their speaking engagements. Because the problem is you should be in your zone of genius not looking for them. And so that's what we've done. We've gone out and we've looked them for you. Speakertunity delivers to speakers more than 60 different locations every month where they can book themselves for speaking engagements. Local meetings, conferences, conventions, lifestyle events, even Unities and Spiritual Centers Spiritual Living, if that's what you like to deliver to content. We have bookstores that are presentation friendly. We have all kinds of venues and multi-speaker events and people who invite other people to speak on their stages. And in addition to that, we have a private Facebook group, private Facebook group where I am putting in all kinds of calls for speakers that are looking for somebody right then and have an opportunity that you can actually jump on. I put in those every single day. So that's Speakertunity Speaker Leads, and that's really what we've been talking about. But if you also want more visibility, I have Speakertunity Radio Insider, and that is radio shows and podcasts that are looking for transformational content. And I'm doing radio media tours for all the years that I've done. I have 3,000 personal growth radio shows, 400 health and wellness, and 500 podcasts. And I've actually rated that list to give our subscribers 25 radio shows and podcasts every month that they can pitch them to. And then lastly, I have Speakertunity Summits. And Speakertunity Summits, most of the time, if you're familiar with virtual summits or telesummits, you get them on your desk and you think, shoot, I should have been in that. It's perfect subject for me. But it's closed. It's already booked. So we give people virtual summits with open guest presenter seats so that you can get yourself into them before they are closed. And so each one of those products is only $35 a month. And, we make it really easy for you. If at $100 an hour or more, which is what most people are billing for their consulting time, they can't afford to do this. At $35 a month, it's really a bargain.
No. You can't at all. No, this is very cool.
And we're looking for the kinds of engagements that are going to change lives. You're not going to find here, just a high-tech conference or, something along that line. It's for entrepreneurs. It's for people who want to reach a market of people that are looking to change their lives in some either personal or business way. So Speakertunity is really an exciting platform that we're developing and growing all the time and changing. We're adding TED Talks. You'll have TED Talks in all of them as well, too, as we go along here. Everybody wants to do a TED Talks. And because you and I are working together, and I want to really take care of your community, Judith, as you said, I've got a special offer, and it's a month free in all three of these platforms. You can pick one or all of them on Speakertunity. And the way that you get there is that you go to tinyurl.com/Speakertunity-AuthorU. Now, I'm going to spell that out for you. tinyurl.com/SPEAKERTUNITYORYOU.
There you go. So so if you kind of went along what it is, each module is $35. So what she's doing, because you're listening to the show, is she's going to gift you $105 because you're going to get it free for a month. Just kind of test drive it, which I think is always lovely to be able to just kind of test out to see, is this a fit for me or not? But as I can just tell you, as someone who has a long time, who, I had marketing people in my office. I know what I spent in supporting that. And the leads I got were always most of my business was referral, but you're always out kind of looking for other things. And of course, if you can get into, we didn't have podcasts when I was starting on the platform. Podcasts are pretty new, but this is a huge way. People are listening to podcasts. It's become the norm, not the abnormal. It's the norm. So, and look at, you're all listening to, either if you're not on live, you're on the podcast side of it. And then just the whole idea of being on an online summit really does cement your expertise. So I'm a big fan here, and I love it that Jackie has stepped forward and saying, hey, let's do this for your listeners and take advantage of it. So it's tinyurl.com/Speakertunity-AuthorU. And you can jump in there and take advantage of it. All right, Jackie, let's come back. Maybe we get one more question in before we slip away. All right, we've kind of really done several things. And that, is this a combination, or is there maybe one other element or two other elements would make them a hot, sizzling magnet for anyone who's looking for a speaker out there?
Well, I think that one of the things is if you can actually get the people who book you to be your advocates. Mm-hmm. So they're going to tell other speakers about you, but one of the things you can do is go ask them who they recommend, mm-hmm. and then go outreach to those people, and then get them to tell people how great you are. So that combination, having other people endorse you when you're pitching yourself, is really very, very powerful.
It's the old, who do you know who?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you want to take advantage of the relationships that you've built to drive more opportunities for yourself. Let them be your advocates.
Oh, I lost something here. All right, so somehow my sound has gone. So let's just do a wrap up here real quick. And that my mic, something happened on my mic. So Jackie, I want to thank you for being with us today. And I'm really looking forward for when you come back with us in a couple of weeks and talk about this other side of it, to really look at the whole area of just really getting you positioned, because authors want to get on out there in the front. They want to be on the media. And this is all part of your persona. This is how you move forward. It adds to your expertise. And with the combination, it'll sell a lot of books. So, Jackie, thank you so much for being with us today.
Judith, it was just delightful. Thank you.
All right, everyone, it's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. I'm Judith Briles, your book shepherd, and we'll be back with you next week.
A part of your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week, a variety